Well, my friends, welcome back to Spot On with Link Lauren. We have so much to discuss today. We're going to have to talk about Kamala Harris later on in the show. She's drunk. She's drinking again, at least in my opinion. We're going to have to talk about Bad Bunny, some of the backlash to his Super Bowl halftime show and his SNL appearance. But we have to start by talking about none other than the Duchess of Scamalot, Meghan Markle, okay? The disaster tourist is back with a vengeance. She was in Paris over the weekend attending the Balenciaga fashion show. We have all the details. Let me break down everything that happened and why she's also receiving such a backlash. So Meghan Markle, she went to Paris to attend the Balenciaga fashion show. She took her entire team. She took Daniel, the hair and makeup artist. She took Marcus Anderson. Now, Marcus Anderson is this interesting character, right? He's considered the second most important man in Meghan Markle's life. He's apparently the head of membership at Soho House, and he's someone she's been friends with since before she met Harry, right? You know, she used to hang out with Harry at Soho House. So Marcus Anderson, I don't know if he's the best influence on her. When I look at Meghan Markle and these videos and pictures from Paris, she seems kind of drugged out. She seems kind of faded, a little bit like this and that. I don't know if she's jet lagged. I also wonder, does she put the makeup artist Daniel back in coach and she flies first class? These are questions that I have. But she goes to this fashion show. She runs into Anna Wintour. Anna Wintour, it's like she's trying to catch COVID or the plague. She's like, hi, how are you? Kisses, barely a little kiss. If you remember, Meghan Markle has never been to the Met Gala, right? Anna Wintour has always sort of kept Meghan Markle at arm's length. She said some nice stuff about her, but Anna Wintour is always going to prioritize the royal family, the monarchy. That is who Anna Wintour loves. She loves Catherine and William, and she revered the Queen. She went to fashion shows with the Queen. And so I can't imagine that she's too enamored with Meghan Markle, who has made a career out of trashing the royal family. Now, apparently Meghan Markle, her excuse for going to the show is that she's very good friends with the new head designer, Pier Paolo Picciolo, who became the creative director for the house in July. I guess the house of Balenciaga, you guys, who gives a shit? The house of Balenciaga, he's now the new head, the head creative director. So apparently he's designed outfits for her for years. She decided she's going to go to the fashion show. Meghan Markle, she wants to couch herself as this relatable woman who plants her vegetable garden and makes these little flower arrangements. I think this is actually what she should lean into. I think Meghan Markle should just own the fact that she's an out-of-touch, rich, liberal, elite celebrity who's besties with the folks over at Netflix who you know are grooming children. Balenciaga has been in their own grooming children scandals before. That's what Meghan Markle should do. Stop all this buffoonery and malarkey and tomfoolery about how you're this relatable woman. You're not this relatable woman at all. You were this duchess. You left. You got $100 million from Netflix. Going to the Balenciaga fashion shows is kind of who you are. It's kind of who you are, Meghan Markle. So I think you should just own that fact. Now, when I see Meghan Markle over in Paris at the Balenciaga fashion show, I'm reminded of when she was on the Drew Barrymore show and she talked about how when she travels, she takes videos. She takes videos of herself reading children's books to send to her kids, Archie and Lilibet. She'll take little videos of herself, send them to the kids, or she'll FaceTime the kids. What is with this generation of parents who FaceTime their kids when they're out gallivanting the world and living this fabulous lifestyle? Wouldn't it be better if you were actually just with your kids? Maybe you could just take your kids on the trip and expose them to other things. I don't think Balenciaga is what I would be exposing my young children to. But Meghan Markle, this is who she is. Now, let me read you a statement from her spokesperson. Over the years, the Duchess has worn a number of designs by Pier Paolo. They have worked closely together, collaborating on design for key moments on the world stage. She has long admired his craftsmanship and modern elegance, and tonight was no different. This evening reflects the culmination of many years of artistry and friendship reflected in her support for his new creative chapter at Balenciaga. This is a bunch of BS, okay? She is upset. She is upset that Prince William and Catherine have gotten all of this attention recently. If you remember, they had President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump come over to the UK. They did all this pomp and circumstance and carriage rides and processions and military presentations. And then Prince William has been doing interviews talking about the future of the monarchy, how he wants to evolve the monarchy. There have been tons of articles and rumors that Harry and Meghan will likely have their titles stripped. I think they should have their titles stripped. What is she doing for the monarchy? She's going to fashion shows. She's going to fashion shows with this horrible outfit, which looks like a bed sheet, by the way. The outfit looks like a bed sheet. Looks like she's wrapped in toilet paper. Some folks also said she looked like she was from Star Wars. So she's going to all these fashion shows. She does nothing for the monarchy. Why does Meghan Markle still even have her titles? You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you have left the family and you've been gone for almost 6 years, why do you still need a title? You're dining out on that Duchess title time and time again, but you do nothing for the Commonwealth. So I think she should have her title stripped. And I think that's part of the reason she went over there to Paris to the fashion show. This also reminded me a little bit of the South Park episode. Do you guys remember that South Park episode? We want privacy. We want privacy. That is what it reminded me of, Harry and Meghan. They really say they want privacy. They want to live this California lifestyle with the vegetables and the animals running in the yard and the plants and the flower arrangements. That's not who they are. Okay, these are elite, liberal celebrities. She's sitting front row at a fashion show. She wants to be like Kim Kardashian, but the difference is Kim Kardashian actually owns who she is. And when Kim Kardashian comes out with products like Skims, they actually sell. Meghan Markle really can't sell anything. Okay, she can't really sell anything. She sold herself to Harry. Okay, she somehow conned him into believing all of her BS and her lies, maybe with the help of her friend Marcus Anderson. But that's who Meghan Markle is. Now, where things get a little bit dicier, Meghan Markle posted this bizarre video where she's riding around Paris in the back of a car, allegedly with no seatbelt on, with her feet up on the seat, going by Princess Diana's crash site. Okay, this has been all over the news. This has been all over the news and all over the internet the last 24 hours. Meghan Markle, she can plead ignorance. She's always going to try to plead ignorance. But Meghan Markle, she studied the royal family. Like when she said she knew nothing about Prince Harry, and then all her former friends said, no, she knew a lot about Prince Harry. She was probably researching the guy. We find pictures of her out in front of Buckingham Palace. How are you going to say you don't know a guy when you have pictures in front of his house? Imagine if I said I don't know a guy, and there are videos of me driving around his neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? That's Meghan Markle. She's like, I don't know who Prince Harry is. Is he nice? There are pictures of her at Buckingham Palace. Okay. So for Meghan Markle to post a video riding around Paris where Princess Diana died with her legs up in the back of a car at night, she's doing this deliberately. Okay, this is a sociopathic woman, in my opinion. She's probably trying to trigger Harry. She's probably trying to drum up attention, maybe for this Princess Diana documentary. Maybe she's working on this Diana documentary. She's out doing research. Maybe she's doing her own research in the field. Sorry, I'm laughing. But she's out doing research in the field. But no, Meghan Markle is so full of crap. She is such... I'm sorry, but Meghan Markle, she's just really full of crap to be riding around Paris at night with her legs up in the back of a car, knowing your husband's mother famously died in the back of a car without a seatbelt on, allegedly in Paris. So that's who Meghan Markle is. She's a disaster tourist. But remember after the Palisades fire, she was also a disaster tourist because she was going and traipsing through people's front yards, and they weren't even allowed to go back and collect their things. Like there were folks who wanted to go see if, their animals were alive, and they weren't allowed to go to their street. But Meghan Markle was traipsing through their front yard after the Palisades fire. So she's taken her disaster tourism to the next level. She's now going and visiting where Princess Diana died and the horrific car crash in the tunnel, which every person on earth knows. The last point I have to make about this car video where Meghan Markle has her feet up and she's rolling around doing this tourism of where Princess Diana horrifically died. Meghan Markle's feet, I don't know if she's LeBron James or Shaq. Maybe we have found Bigfoot. You know what they say about big feet? Meghan Markle's feet in the back of that car look ginormous. Okay, if she were a man, I'd probably be trying to give her my number. But I think she really has some big feet in the back of the car. I don't know if she's buying shoes that are like 3 or 4 sizes too big. She claims she's best friends with all these designers. They send her scraps. The shoes don't fit. The clothes are all wrinkled and misshapen. She doesn't have a steamer. She doesn't have an iron, apparently, in this fancy hotel she's staying in. And Meghan Markle, she's walking around Paris like she's the shit. Okay, excuse my French if my mom's Bible study is watching. Meghan Markle is walking around Paris. There goes my comb. But Meghan Markle is walking around Paris like this. She's got her arms flowing. She's really feeling her oats. Woman, please please go back to California and be with your children and go and find a career other than just being desperate for attention every single day. Go find something to do that betters the world. She gets all these humanitarian awards. Why are you getting humanitarian awards when you're going to a fashion show that has been involved in grooming and pedophilia scandals? How is that someone who needs a humanitarian award? But we're going to move on. We'll be keeping tabs on this. I have a feeling this scandal in the back of the car is going to grow. I also feel it has something to do with the documentary she's doing on Princess Diana. I think Meghan Markle's going to say, you guys, I'm doing this Diana documentary that comes out in 2027. I needed to go drive around Paris and go on her exact route. That doesn't make me a sociopath. Why do you guys think I'm crazy driving around where my husband's mother died? So she's a master manipulator. She's a master disaster tourist. But the last thing, I promise the last thing we have to discuss, the only reason I'm discussing this is because people on X and social media were blowing me up like crazy. I was tagged in this picture 1,000 times because I guess we have nothing better to do. But Meghan Markle has gone viral because she's using these tongs in the wrong way. Apparently she's using these really fancy canning tool tongs. We're going to put it up on the screen. I have no idea what the hell this is, you guys. When I lived in New York for 6 years, I never used my kitchen once, okay? So I'm not here judging anyone for not knowing their way around the kitchen. I'm no Martha Stewart myself, okay? I can cook some things, I can bake some things when push comes to shove. But if I'm trying to be a chef influencer like Meghan Markle, I'm trying to be a kitchen lifestyle influencer, I would make sure that I actually use the products properly. But this is like when she baked those cookies and we saw there were like bugs and insects in them. You have to be careful eating at Meghan Markle's house because you're going to have bugs and insects and she's using the tongs wrong. But everyone kept tagging me in this saying, how the hell does she not know how to use these tongs when she is trying to be the next Martha Stewart, the next Anthony Bourdain? She would love to have a show on the Food Network, but I don't think the Food Network would touch her with a 10-foot tong. So that's who Meghan Markle is. But without further ado, I promise we are officially done discussing Meghan Markle. We're going to move on after we pay some bills. I've got to share something that seriously upgraded my life. My Aurora Luxe mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. Sleep is everything when you're juggling a million things, and this mattress has been a total game changer. It's handcrafted in their US factory with top-notch quality. Their top-of-the-line cooling cover technology keeps me cool all night, and my back feels amazing. It's no wonder it's endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association for spinal support. Their sleep quiz helped me find the perfect fit in minutes. And now I'm sleeping better and waking up energized. Go to brooklynbedding.com and use my promo code LINK at checkout to get 30% off site-wide. This offer is not available anywhere else. That's brooklynbedding.com, promo code LINK for 30% off site-wide. Support our show and let them know we sent you after checkout. brooklynbedding.com, promo code LINK. Well, we talked about Meghan Markle. Now we have to discuss another insufferable woman who's probably drunk, and that is none other than Miss Kamala Harris. Okay, Kamala Harris is back. She's still doing this book tour, apparently. I mean, this book tour is going to last longer than the campaign now that I think about it. The campaign was 107 days. She's still on this book tour. It's just going. It's like longer than Kim Kardashian's marriage. Remember, she was married for 72 days? I feel like Kamala's in competition with her. She's like, what can I do that's close to that? So she's still on this book tour, I guess 107 days. The book tour is going to be longer than the actual campaign. But she's going out on stage and she's proclaiming this was the closest and tightest election in American history. And that is false. Okay, number one, it's just quantifiably, objectively false. Okay, anybody who studies politics and history knows that is false. Second of all, it's just ridiculous to be a sore loser. Okay, if you ain't first, you're last. Kamala Harris, you're going out there and you really want kudos because it was maybe a close election in some counties. I don't think it was, but she just keeps saying this is the tightest election. At least she knows something is tight because the rumors I hear around San Francisco, not much else is tight around her. So Kamala Harris, she says it's the tightest election in history. It's a bunch of BS. It's a bunch of lies, but maybe it's like propaganda. It's almost like, sort of like World War II kind of propaganda where she thinks if she goes out there and she repeats something time and time again, it'll become gospel. It'll become fact. But let's look at this clip. Let's take a look at her saying it's the closest election in American history.
Closest presidential election in the 21st century. He does not have a mandate. That is not a mandate. That is not a mandate.
Kamala, back away from the Cabernet, back away from the mini bar. I don't know who stocked your green room or your dressing room. You need to put the bottle down and get help. You really need to get help because two things, both outcomes are bad. Either you don't actually know the outcome of the election. You actually think it was close. That's not good. That's a mental health issue, right? That's an intelligence IQ issue. Second outcome, you know you are lying and you are going out there and selling a lie so boldly. So both outcomes are bad for your political career and your political future if you want one. If I were Kamala Harris, I would go out there and say, you know what? It wasn't that close. We're going to learn. We're going to try to come more to the middle and be common sense. But that's not what the Democrats are going to do. That's not what Kamala Harris is going to do. She really can't handle it. Her ego can't handle the fact that she lost every swing state, the Electoral College, the popular vote. In fact, President Trump was able to trend all of these blue counties a little bit more red. Even in California, look how California, Kamala's own state, shifted red. Shifted much more to the right. So I think Kamala Harris, her ego, her fragile ego, cannot handle the fact that she got her ass handed to her. And she went out there for years saying Trump's a felon and a criminal and a threat to democracy and a fascist and a dictator. And everybody said, well, you know what? We love Trump and we're going to vote for him over you, you drunk hoe. So that's what people did, excuse me. But that is what happened with this past election. People did not want Kamala Harris. You could put literally, you could tell me you have a baked potato and Kamala Harris, I'm going to choose the baked potato. There's something just dangerous to me about Kamala Harris. And we talk all the time about Joe Biden's mental and cognitive decline. I think Kamala Harris, I think her brain is just as bad as Joe Biden's. I think Kamala Harris has some other type of mental health issue that's just as dangerous. I would not trust her with the nuclear codes. I wouldn't trust Mr. Jazz Hands, Tim Walz with the nuclear codes. So for her to keep saying this is the closest election in American history, you're an idiot, Kamala Harris. And it's why no one will ever take you seriously on the national stage. Your own party doesn't take you seriously. They whisper behind your back. And that's who you are. Now, switching gears to a woman who's actually had some success in her life. Against all odds, a woman we discovered on her back, Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is in the news over the weekend. I guess it was a slow news cycle because the government is shut down and we're all looking for things to discuss. But Kim Kardashian is back in the news because she has decided to co-opt and borrow Kris Jenner's haircut. She's decided she's done with the long, 500 inches of fake hair. She's going to do a short Kris Jenner haircut. Now, my thinking is this. Her mom, Kris Jenner, just had a bunch of plastic surgery, famously had a bunch of plastic surgery. Looks very refined, tuned, plucked, pulled. If you're going to borrow your mom's hairstyle, you better make sure you look younger than your mom, because now Kris Jenner, in my opinion, Kris Jenner, because she spent probably hundreds of thousands of dollars going under the knife, Kris Jenner looks younger than Kim. Now Kris Jenner looks younger than Kim Kardashian. And this is what's so sick about the Kardashians. Like, they're all in competition with each other. They all go to the same plastic surgeons. They all have the same hairstylist and makeup artist. They all filter their photos. Like, imagine being in competition with your mom or the mom being in competition with the daughter, because I think Kris Jenner lives vicariously through Kim. I think Kris really loves Kim the most. We know she's her favorite child. I think she lives vicariously through her. But what's so kind of sinister to me about the Kardashians is that they'll all go get the same plastic surgery and the same filler and the same Botox and the same stylist, and they all just sort of start morphing into each other. Even Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian used to be the relatable one, and maybe we can put up a side-by-side of how she used to look and how she looks now. Khloe was kind of the one we had to feel like, I could be in the Kardashians. There's Khloe. Khloe's relatable. She's a normal girl. I do think it's funny, though. For years, they said Khloe was the fat one. They're like, Khloe's the big Kardashian, and she was like a size 6. They're like, Khloe Kardashian, she's Bigfoot, she's Sasquatch, and she's like, I'm a size 6. I just next to these little tiny Lilliputian people, Kourtney and Kim Kardashian, who are like 4'8". So I think it's funny that for years, Khloe Kardashian was supposed to be the relatable one, kind of the big girl, and it's like, no, she's tiny too. She's skinny also. But shout out to the Kardashians. Unlike Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, people actually buy their products. I don't love the Kardashians, but they do know how to work it and sell something. And they own the fact that they're kind of just little reality stars. They own the fact that everything is up for consumption. They won't try and act like, oh, we didn't want to be photographed by the paparazzi. We didn't want to get caught here. We didn't want to get caught there. No. They go out there. They're like, look, take our picture, take pictures of every nook and cranny. We can't even put these pictures up But Kim Kardashian was also in Paris over the weekend. She just had her boobs out, her breasts out, her, private parts out all over the streets of Paris. I would not be naked walking through the streets of Paris if I had been robbed at gunpoint in that city. Does anything good happen in Paris? Can we just talk for a second? You guys know by now, if you followed me on social media, I don't love French people that much, okay? I actually can't stand French people that much, with rare exception. So I have no desire to go to Paris. I don't have this like joie de vivre, lust for life to travel anyway. I don't like to leave my house unless I'm getting paid. And so to go to Paris, does anything good happen in Paris for celebrities? They get in horrible car crashes, chased by the paparazzi, robbed at gunpoint and thrown in bathtubs. I think all of these celebrities should just stop going to Paris, France and go to Paris, Texas. You know what I'm saying? I think you guys might have a better time in Paris, Texas, and it's a lot safer than being in Paris, France. So we should actually do, maybe next year, a Paris, Texas fashion show where we go to Paris, Texas, and we actually look good and wear Lucchese boots and, Western wear. And we don't go where all these celebrities are in Paris, France at these ridiculous fashion shows with Anna Wintour. But without further ado, we're going to move on from that tangent to none other than Bad Bunny. So Bad Bunny is a famous Puerto Rican singer/rapper. Now, for those who don't know, Puerto Rico is part of the United States of America. So we shout out Puerto Rico. We love Puerto Rico. I've been to Puerto Rico several times. Sometimes you have to fly through to go here, to go there. We love Puerto Rico. I love that it's a part of the United States of America. However, Bad Bunny has made his whole career recently is about how he's anti-ICE. He hates President Trump. He hates Republicans. He wants open immigration. I'm tired of someone who's not from the continental United States telling us that we should just allow millions of people to come through the border. Okay, it's not bigoted, it's not xenophobic, it's not racist to want common sense border security. You can't go to any other country and just waltz in willy-nilly, okay? But Bad Bunny, this is who he is. He was on Saturday Night Live over the weekend, and he made some comments about the Super Bowl halftime show and what you might have to do to understand his performance.
De todo, demostrando que nuestra huella y nuestra aportación en este país nadie nunca la podrá sacar ni borrar. And if you didn't understand what I just said, you have 4 months to learn.
Now, here's my thing. I grew up in Texas. I can speak a little bit of Spanish, un poquito, hola, ¿cómo está? Yo no quiero agua, yo quiero bebida, daddy want gasolina. Like, I can speak a little bit of Spanish. I have no problem with us having some Spanish incorporated into the Super Bowl halftime show. But when you make this decision, the NFL makes this decision, I guess with Apple Music, to have someone who is so anti our laws here in the United States, who's so against what we stand for, which is having border security, that's what really concerns me. And there's almost this flippant attitude about it as well. Like, look, if you guys don't speak Spanish, you're not going to enjoy the halftime show. The Super Bowl halftime show is a moment where the country can come together. That's what the Super Bowl is supposed to be. People on the left, the right, the middle, all across the political spectrum coming together, rooting for their team, getting together with folks on Super Bowl Sunday, watching the commercials, watching the ads. And so to already come from a place of division and divisiveness really tears down what the Super Bowl is all about. And I know you guys are looking at me going, what the hell do you know about the Super Bowl and sports? But the Super Bowl is about bringing people together. And it seems like Bad Bunny is not interested in doing that. And when we've had some Spanish incorporated into the Super Bowl halftime show with Jennifer Lopez and Shakira, it was a little bit in English, there was some Spanish, they had American flags, it was everybody coming together. You understand what I'm saying? But it feels like Bad Bunny, who's really not known to a majority of the United States of America, to be completely honest with you, the target demo for the NFL is not really Bad Bunny's demo, so I don't understand the business decision. But to already come from a place where you're telling people, well, you know what? I don't like ICE. I don't like our immigration officers. I don't care if you can't understand me. It's just this kind of nasty, flippant attitude. It'll be interesting to see how the NFL handles it. Of course, we'll be watching. That's pretty much the reason I tune into the Super Bowl is to watch the halftime show. So we'll be watching, we'll be judging. I actually would rather have Taylor Swift do the halftime show, to be honest. I'm not a huge Taylor Swift fan, not the biggest fan of the new album, but Taylor Swift is this all-American girl who embodies the American dream. So I would be happy with Taylor Swift doing the Super Bowl halftime show, to be honest. At least I know all the songs. I can dance. I can sing along. Sue me. Sue me for wanting to understand. Sue me for wanting something to be in English. It's like when you call to make a doctor's appointment now, or you call your insurance, or you call AAA, you get like Spanish and Chinese and Portuguese and all this stuff before you even get English. It's like, press 5 if you speak English. Can we put English first? No other country does that. They're not capitulating to any minority group. And it's not because we're assholes. We're not assholes for saying it. It's common sense. You know what I'm saying? So I understand the backlash to Bad Bunny, but we will be watching and judging. And after we pay some bills, we'll be right back. Have you guys heard about colostrum? It's the very first milk known as liquid gold that babies receive from their mothers after birth, packed with proteins, natural growth factors, antimicrobial peptides that work to enhance your immune response, reduce inflammation, repair and balance gut lining, reduce bloating, and make your hair and skin look amazing. Cowboy Colostrum offers the highest quality cow colostrum available in the US, 100% made in America from 100% American grass-fed cows. They don't overprocess or strip their colostrum, leaving it whole, full fat, and high protein for ultimate nutrient density. Cowboy is made with delicious natural ingredients and no artificial flavors. Simply add a 3-gram scoop of any of their amazing flavors into your coffee or smoothie. For a limited time, our listeners get up to 25% off their entire order. Just head to cowboycolostrum.com/link and use code LINK at checkout. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. That's cowboycolostrum.com/link and use code LINK at checkout. Now, as most of you know by now, I have railed against the Ivy Leagues for years, okay? I think if you send your kid to Harvard or Columbia or Stanford or any of these fancy schools, you are sending them off to be indoctrinated. They're going to be indoctrinated to hate their own country, to hate everything the country stands for, to believe that everything they've been taught their whole lives up to that point at 18 years old is wrong and backward. That's what's going to happen if you send your kid to these Ivy League schools. It's why we see them out on the quad in like tents and camping and wearing keffiyehs. That's what they teach you. That's what's happening at these Ivy League schools. And it's actually getting worse. I can't even believe I'm going to say this. Harvard has hired a drag queen to come in and teach 2 courses. The courses are queer ethnography and Rue politics. Now, let me read you a little bit about what is going on. So the drag queen is named Lahore Vagistan. Now, I've been called worse by some of my own family members. I mean, Lahore, not the worst thing you could be called at this day and age. I think I've seen some comments that are a little more brutal than that. But Lahore Vagistan specializes in performance studies, queer studies, and South Asian studies. What is with, okay, I'm going to get so canceled for saying this, but it's a podcast. Apparently on podcasts, we're just supposed to talk. What is with all this South Asian? When did that become a thing? Does South Asian just mean Indian? Because Kamala Harris tried to do all this too. Like, I'm South Asian, I'm South Asian. Even when I was dating years ago in New York, a few years ago, I started seeing even on the dating app, South Asian, South Asian. What is South Asian? Does that mean Indian? Are you just Indian and we don't call you Indian anymore because you're South Asian? I don't understand. Am I going to sound illiterate and like I'm not well-traveled and well-read? But what is with all this, everything is South Asian, South Asian? It's like, what does that mean? Where are you from? So Lahore Vagistan brags about bringing the nightclub to the classroom. That's what these parents want. They're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars at Harvard. They want to bring the nightclub to the classroom. I guess they'll be like, doing blow like Studio 54 during second period. And he also wants to teach critical race, post-colonial, and gender theory through lip sync and lecture. All of that just gave me a headache. This is every reason you need to not go to college. Okay, I know this is controversial, you guys. Unless you absolutely need that degree, you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, you do not need to go to college. Okay, go to a trade school. Go become an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter. Learn how to build something with your hands. Because all these kids who go and take queer ethnography and Rue politics from this drag queen named Lahore Vagistan, yes, that's a sentence that just came out of my mouth. All of these kids, okay, they're going to go out into the workforce and be confused why they can't find jobs. They're going to be like, oh, it's President Trump's fault we're unemployed. Oh, it's the government's fault we can't find work. No. You majored in frickin' queer ethnography and Rue politics. That's probably why you can't find a job. You know what I'm saying? You can't cry over spilled milk. And something I always tell young people, a lot of young people message me who are in college and they say, I want to get into media and politics and this and that. Something I always say is, you are in charge of your own choices. You can't play smart and dumb at the same time. It's the advice I give to my friends too when they find themselves in little scandals. You can't play smart and dumb. You can't go to Harvard and waste your time studying queer ethnography and Rue politics and drag and then wonder why you're not the top applicant to go work at some investment firm, why you're not the top applicant at any other company. You know what I'm saying? It's because you majored in queer ethnography, and it's ridiculous. Now, I want to read you also, because we have this in the show notes, a little bit of where this drag queen's name comes from. So he, because it's a guy, says, "My name is Lahore Bajistan. My preferred pronouns are she or auntie. I chose Lahore because my family traces its origins to Pakistan. Lahore is an important city in Pakistan, and well, I'm a bit of a whore," the drag queen said. If you aren't pulling your kid out of Harvard right now, I don't know what's wrong with you as a parent. If you are allowing your child to even go to a school where they think this is okay, I question you. I question all the dads out there. I question the moms who think this is okay. I question the kids who sit in these classrooms and want to waste their time learning about drag in college. Okay? You're going to sit there for 4 years being coddled, but these are all the same kids who the day after the election on November 6th were told, if you are so upset over President Trump's victory, you can have some cookies and milk. We have a crying circle. You can go sit in a crying circle and have cookies and milk and be coddled like a little baby. That's what these college kids want these days. And it's why if I ever have kids someday, they will never go to the Ivy Leagues. They will never go to the Ivy Leagues because I think there's an inverse relationship now. You send your kid to an Ivy League school, they come out dumber. You send your kid to a trade school or the school of hard knocks, they come out knowing how to do a thing or two. They know how to screw in a light bulb and change a tire. Do I know how to do those things? No, but I know how to call and find people to do those things. I have a Rolodex of men who know how to change tires in my phone because I'm scrappy. But I'm just saying, if you send your kid to an Ivy League school these days, knowing all the indoctrination and what's happening, I don't have sympathy for you whatsoever. This is also a byproduct of this woke mind virus. And people throw around this term all the time, the woke mind virus. Oh, that's just a conservative talking point. No. This has really infected our schools. This has infected our higher education institutions. I'm really just even grappling with how to explain this. And people say to me all the time, well, you went to university. You went to NYU. You went to a fancy, nice school. Yeah, and I'm speaking from experience. It's because I went to NYU and I was in these classrooms where they made us go around for an hour and say our pronouns and talk about our life stories, and we're paying all this money. I'm speaking from experience. I've been behind the curtain like the Wizard of Oz. So I'm trying to impart what I know and tell you guys, don't send your kids to these schools. Don't do it. You also have, like this drag queen, professors who don't have your kids' best interest at heart. They could be doing drugs, partying, coming in hungover, still high from the night before. They're adjunct professors. They don't take the profession very seriously. And so I just think you're putting your kid in a classroom with all this indoctrination, with people who don't have their best interest. You have no control over the curriculum. I think there's a reason parents are saying we're not sending our kids to college, or you are going to a trade school. Let's talk about what's cooking in your kitchen. Those ultra-processed canola oils, they're industrial byproducts once unfit for human consumption, even used as warship lubricants. Big food companies sold us on seed oils being healthier alternatives to the natural animal fats our grandparents used. Enter Golden Age fats. Their 100% American-made grass-fed beef tallow brings back that classic, wholesome taste. It makes chicken, steaks, eggs, or roasted veggies absolutely killer. Loaded with vitamins, minerals, and healthy fatty acids, its high smoke point works for any recipe. You'll feel light, energized, no heavy crash. Like with seed oils, it's clean, no additives, no preservatives, just pure Midwest tallow from grass-fed cows. Ready to go back to the basics? Give Golden Age beef tallow a try. Go to goldenagefats.com/link and use code LINK for 25% off your first order. That's goldenagefats.com/link, code LINK for 25% off your first order. Well, my friends, that concludes Spot On with Link Lauren. What I love about this show is that we can discuss a wide range of topics, okay? 1 minute we're talking about this drag queen professor, then we're talking about Bad Bunny, then the outcome of the election, and then of course we had to talk about the Duchess of Soho House, Meghan Markle. But I love you guys. We will be back on Wednesday. I want to read all of your comments. I read everything. How do you feel about this topic and that topic? You can tell me why I'm wrong. You can tell me why you agree with me. You can tell me a different perspective that I haven't thought of. But we will be back on Wednesday. I'm also on Megyn Kelly's show on Wednesday, so be sure to tune into that. And thank you for giving us 5 stars on social media and wherever you get your podcast. Have a blessed day. I love you guys. Bye.